Radical Dreamer here, and welcome to the Postal Code Unknown podcast for Thursday, August 3rd of 2017. I'm here today to talk to you guys about counterculture, street art, and Dismaland. So specifically, I wanted to sort of start by talking about this by saying that I'm a big fan of street art and public expression and art in general, mostly because it has the ability to sort of spark conversation and discourse and the exchange of ideas. Which is something that can sometimes be very lost in thought. Now, again, I don't want to say that I'm a fan of all street art. Sometimes it can be sort of an expression that's used ineffectively or in cases of spreading hate, and I'm not a fan of that at all. But I do want to say that sort of when used properly, street art can change the way a space exists. It can change the way people perceive a place, and it can change things in positive and interesting and you know, all kinds of ways. Which I think is one of my favorite things about it. It's just art in a different way. So I visited places like Bristol and in other places in the world that sort of have really specialized areas to promote that kind of street art. In fact, they've gone as far as to embrace the idea of it as a way of sort of like improving the space itself. So when I'm wearing sort of like this picture of Dismaland, because I think that was my first real experience in sort of a controlled environment. Now, Dismaland was a sort of a very specific exhibition that took place in Western-super-Mare in the summer of 2015, put on supposedly by the artist known as Banksy. If you're not familiar with him, he's a famous sort of street artist from the United Kingdom that sort of has very specific messaging, and a lot of people sort of criticize him for becoming very mainstream or very one-note in terms of his expression. I think that this was something that was leveled against Dismaland specifically, but what had happened was it was a former sort of resort area. Western-super-Mare is sort of like along the western coast of the United Kingdom, and is sort of like a vacation destination type area. And a former Tropicana resort sort of had on the end of this sort of area had been converted to essentially sort of like the anti-Disneyland sort of thing. And as somebody who's been sort of a huge fan of Disney in general for a lot of reasons, I do realize that some of the things that major companies like that represent can be problematic. So I thought that I wanted, and I was very lucky to be close by when this exhibition occurred. And in fact, I remember one of the crazy things when they originally started selling tickets, the ticketing system was completely broken, and everybody thought that was the social experiment. That not being able to buy these tickets was specifically what the problem was. But when I was able to get tickets, luckily, and sort of I was in Ireland at the time, and I realized, hey, there's this thing that is only going to happen once, and if I'm lucky enough to be close to it, I can't miss it. So I cut my trip in Ireland short by a few days in order to make it here, and I'm really glad that I did. And the reason why... and I'll do my best to sort of share some. I've shared a bunch of pictures in the past, and I had a friend of mine ask me, like, what is this weird thing that you're sending all these pictures of? And I just want to sort of mention sort of like, I've got the brochure here, and I can sort of show you what this looks like. And there's a sort of an idea of like this death riding a cable car. And what was really cool about it, here's a map of what it looked like. So this is sort of like that resort area, and there was like an anti-Disney castle, and tons of areas for people to sort of exhibit their art. And I think that was really special. And one of the reasons why I think I like Dismaland so much, and I think that it gets lost in a lot of the translations or sort of media coverage of the sort of exhibition itself, was the performance aspect of it. And I remember sort of like, as I was trying to enter, again, I'm someone that sometimes wears my emotions very prominently. So I was excited. I was excited to be in this thing that I didn't think I was going to be able to see. I was excited to be there. and they wouldn't let me in through the metal detectors that weren't really metal detectors but smile detectors, and they were very adamant that nobody smiles that comes into Dismaland. And that was the first moment where I realized that this is a really interesting piece that may not have been sort of like discussed as much as the artist exhibition itself. And I think that was really cool. Sort of as I sort of explored the grounds, sort of like going from exhibit to exhibit to exhibit, the fact that everyone that was a employee of this theme park essentially was so completely in character that it really sort of the best way to sort of describe this is that when art gives you the ability to experience emotion or creates a reaction in the viewer or the audience, I feel that makes it effective. So when this performance aspect of the people that were there sort of really sort of like brought that attitude down and sort of brought me to that level, I felt that it was incredibly effective in a way that I think it was the most important exhibition of the entire place. Not like, say for example, there's the big fake Disney castle that has a exhibit of basically sort of like, it's like Cinderella if she was Princess Diana, which was sad and sort of really hard to watch, but I think that's the kind of point of this kind of art. So, like there are things that stand out because they have specific, like image concerns and stuff like that. But the thing, again, sort of that sticks out to me the most about that whole experience was the opportunity to experience this production that they had created. And I think that was really interesting and really kind of a cool thing. So, again, I hope I haven't rambled on too much about art and discourse and the sharing of ideas. But I think they're important parts of the way that we live our lives. If you've got a favorite street art area, please feel free to share it with me. I'd love to sort of open a conversation on the website as well. I hope you have a wonderful day. And hey, we made it to 50 episodes. Yay! Have a great day. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you'd like to see more of what I've been doing outside of these videos, you can see more at theradicaldreamer.com, where I've got articles and photographs with travel advice and stories that aren't just in a video format. You can follow me on Twitter at @OneRadicalDreamer or on Instagram at @ARadicalDreamer if that's something that you're more interested in. If you're interested in supporting me, I do have a Patreon page up as well, which you can find at patreon.com/TheRadicalDreamer. And that's a way for as little as $1 a month you can help support me get better equipment and do more videos of this type and make a whole bunch more cool stuff to share with you in the future. And last but not least, if you like what you've been seeing on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and send a couple comments. I'd be happy to answer more questions in future episodes of the podcast. Hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you. Take care.